Book it!
You're listening to the Jersey Tuck Podcast.
Hello out there, and welcome. It is with great happiness that me and my sports-minded colleagues here have an opportunity to present you with the inaugural, the anticipated, the revered, the, for now, hidden gem of the sporting world, the Jersey Tuck Podcast.
We finally did it.
We are sports variety for the modern society. And thank you for listening and joining us on either Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Twitch, not this week. We're not that good just yet. Without further ado, let's start by going around the table and getting some introductions. And I guess we will start with below me, which is Josh.
Oh, I am.
You are.
I'm Josh. I'm a Leafs fan, obviously. And I'm cooler than Mitch, who is below me, but might be beside Alex. Might be above Tyrell.
He's bottom right and bottom right in the middle from me. So
Ooh.
Top right, we have Fred.
Fred, huge Habs fan. Where is it? And there it is. Big sports fan. Rock and roll.
And below him, we have Mitchell.
Yeah, this is Mitch. Josh can go fuck himself.
What did you say?
Josh can go fuck himself.
And
there goes our rating.
Yeah.
last but certainly not least, we have Tyrell.
My name's Tyrell. I'm a huge Houston Rockets fan, but their hats look terrible, so I'm wearing Miami today.
And
Dedication.
my name is Alex. I'm also a huge Houston Rockets fan and huge sports fan. We have a few things on the bill this evening. As we record this, the Super Bowl just happened, so we will certainly be talking about that. There is some rather disheartening moves from Bell and TSN that we will be covering as well. We got a couple of NBA topics and a couple of NHL topics, but let's start off the show talking about what Bell has done to TSN. For those who watch TSN over the years, and maybe Fox Sports Live as well, if you're listening from the United States, Jay and Dan were a treasured broadcast pair that had been part of that network. I know Jay has been there since 1997, and I believe Dan came shortly after. They have been a pair ever since then. And Bell and TSN made the decision this week to cut Dan O'Toole, and it was out of nowhere. It was after their last show. Dan had no previous knowledge of him being cut. It was just then and there, his last show, he was cut from the show. For those who aren't familiar with the show, it's Sports Center, but with really wacky humor that oftentimes goes over people's heads, because that makes it sound highbrow. Really wacky humor that
say just goofy and silly.
It's goofy. That's perfect. That's a perfect word for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll start with you, Josh. You've watched them over the years.
Oh yeah.
Initial thoughts when you heard Dan was leaving?
It was really, really shocking, to be honest with you. Even like with the whole situation, they're going to kind of pin it on COVID. But you'd think too with the media companies like Bell and Rogers that you'd like to think they didn't lose as much. Like they've been pretty consistent throughout the whole thing. But I don't know. It was really shocking, and it kind of sucks that he had to find out about it like without being able to address it on air.
Yeah,
it just happened so suddenly. But did you see? Did anyone here see like the actual address from Jay afterwards?
I did. I actually watched that
Yeah.
today.
Sad.
It was
I got emotional.
it was sad. Mitch, did you see it? And if you did, what are your thoughts?
So I didn't see it, but I got the rundown of it. I saw you could see him apparently he started to choke up by the end of it.
He did, yeah.
So I mean, and I've seen some stuff too. Dan is still in full support of Jay and everything like that. So this isn't like a falling out between the two. This is all corporate. Those two still fully support each other no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a very awkward situation because to me it's a package deal kind of thing with the two of them.
I agree 100%.
I don't know. It's just a weird decision.
Yeah. There's two duos that are prominent in Canadian sports media. It's Tim and Sid and Jay and Dan.
Yeah.
And in a matter of what? I'm not even
They're
sure if
both-
it was a week.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2
Matter of
weeks.
like a week
2
and a half.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Sid Sixero? I think that's how you
6-0.
Sixero.
6-0, yeah.
Gotta be honest, not a huge fan of their show. People love it. It's for some people. But it's a bit of a different circumstance with him because he's moving on to a different program as opposed to being cut right after his show. Fred, did you have any thoughts on it? On
Well-
either situation?
For me, what I find strange is why would Bell, after Bell Let's Talk, then fire them?
Yeah.
Especially with, I don't know for sure, but like Dan, he clearly has a few things
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's happening in his life. It is what it is. And then for him to come out in social media and then post it all over Twitter, like, it just looks bad, you know?
He did. He had like a Twitter tirade, like a little small one that was kind of addressing that. Did you see that?
Yeah, exactly. And he never used the hashtags. He's like, well, I have to use the hashtags. Like,
Yeah.
it's every other day, you know? So you can tell that he was
It irked him a
either
little bit.
surprised by it or, yeah, there's something more that we're not
yeah.
aware of yet.
No, I don't know, but yeah, I mean the same thing though. They let Natasha go. I can't even try to say her last name because
Stanishevsky.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean she's kind of a vet there too. So
She is, yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah, Brent Wallace, huge.
Yeah. Same Brett
Yeah.
Wallace as well. They let it go up a
per-
lot.
And speaking of Jay and Dan, they always talk about producer Tim, and he's gone too.
That's
Yeah, like-
wild to me.
That's nuts. Like
Yeah.
he did, like all their humor that they use, they always use producer Tim. I still don't know what he looks like, but they
Yeah,
always
it's almost
they
part of
always
the joke.
reference him.
Tyrell, did you ever watch any of their show growing up at any point, or I'm sure you're you're aware of them, or
Oh yeah, no, I'm not like I never watched him a whole lot other than when I lived with Josh, obviously. But
Right.
yeah, it's just like an awkward situation because they've been like producer Tim and Dan's been there 20 plus years now, and then just to cut them off, just that's it.
Yeah.
No option to say goodbye. They've had like a following of like people who've grown up watching them. So
Mhm.
like. I don't know. It's and there's no like from what I could find anyway. There was no announcement as to like why they like completely stripped TSN and like it was over like 200 employees. I think they laid
Yeah.
off.
big cuts? Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It seems like there should be a pecking order that people should be laid off. Like it seems like right now they got probably an excess of anchors right now, and you think it'd be the newer ones or the younger ones that are not the more solidified ones. They'd probably cut away because seniority kind of deal. Just kind of
Yeah.
keep the ones that got a name. But there's probably a cost savings thing too, I guess, with salaries and whatnot. But
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, man. And I mean, you hate to say that like these big people that make these decisions are unaware of the cult following that they have, but I mean, perhaps they were. A lot of Jay and Dan's following came from their podcast. Podcast has been on the go since they were their first run with TSN. So it was a thing when podcasts were in their very early stages and people didn't really know what they were. So it's a shame. It's just a shame.
Yeah.
And like you said, Mitch, the whole thing with the pecking order, I gotta be completely honest. It rots me seeing some of these anchors that are still there, and you're like, it's just like those guys. Sure, they're great at their job. They're fantastic at their job, but you have people like Dan that have been there, putting up numbers, like prompting engagement for years and years, and he's the one to get cut. It's just a little heartbreaking, to be honest.
It makes me wonder too. Is there ever on the company's kind of side of things? Has there always been a bit of resentment for them taking off to Fox for a little while?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Come back, you know
You
what I
think
mean?
though? You think though, if that was the case, they'd let both of them go,
Right.
because like it's gonna drastically change. Like, how does that affect now? Like what's Jay gonna be doing? It's not the.
Well,
It's not gonna be the
SportsCenter-
same
Apparently,
thing.
it's Sports Center with Jay now.
Yeah.
That's it.
How I first found out about it was their Facebook page, Sports Center with Jay and Dan, changed to SC with Jay. And as it wasn't like Jay cradling Dan anymore in the picture, it was
You
just,
caught onto that right away.
and I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, what's happening here? So that was the first signal for me.
If they're
Interesting.
cutting costs, just cut the whole thing and just do Sports Center.
Just
It's
pull the plug
stupid.
on it. Yeah.
That's the thing. Every time they upload a piece of content on social for Jay on SC, love Jay on right. I mean, that's the whole thing. I love both of those guys, but it's just like you guys mentioned, they're a package deal, so it's just gonna be awkward. And I'm assuming and predicting that on any piece of content they upload, it's just gonna be like, "Where's Dan? This
Yeah.
sucks without Dan. Didn't realize how much I miss Dan until he's gone," kind of thing, right?
Jay's gonna say something which is gonna be funny and could be a million times funnier because Dan would play off it.
Yeah.
But none of the other anchors are gonna be able to play off it like Dan does.
No.
So then it's just gonna the joke's just gonna end there and then either fall flat or not be near as funny as it probably could have been.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's true. Well, to close the topic out, I'll just say that I've enjoyed both of those guys for years. Really sad to see Dan go, and I just hope they keep the podcast alive. That thing's been bumping forever, and I really hope they find some way to keep it going. We got some dancing going on in the cams here now. There you go, the J reference. So right now we'll move it on to the biggest sports story of the week, which will be the Super Bowl,
Super Bowl.
The what?
the Mega Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. The silly bowl.
The Super
Or for this
Bowl.
one in particular, the boring bowl.
I got a bowl. Up
Oh!
There. There's a few of them.
You're gonna bowl,
Yeah.
do you?
The mixing bowl.
Oh, we got a mixing bowl.
It's fine. What about Cake Bowl? You got one now?
No, but
All right, moving on.
So what
This
was the general? Yeah, like what was the general consensus on the Super Bowl?
So this was the
Uh,
Kansas City Chiefs versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady
slash
versus
the refs.
Tom Brady versus
Aw.
versus Patty Mahomes. Let's start off the conversation with just a general outlook on how did you find the game? Let's hear some general thoughts, Mitch.
The refs made it really hard for the Chiefs the first half to compete. I found there's some stupid calls. But overall, I think Kansas City just fell flat. I mean, you can blame the refs a little bit, but I mean, overall, man, I don't know how many times during that second half it just looked like Patty Mahomes was running for his life, trying to get away from the defense, taking him out, and then he'd throw like he'd be mid falling and throw this bullet, and it'd be pretty near target, and then none of his guys would catch anything for him. It's just like,
Yeah.
He's trying to run for his life and try and do it for you, and no one was coming out in his end. I mean, it's just, the whole team fell flat.
Tyrell, did you catch the game? Do you have any thoughts on it?
I didn't catch the full game. I was working, but I caught the highlights, and yeah, like Mitch said, it was. It's the second half anyway. Seemed like Mahomes was trying to find whatever he could to get through, but nothing.
Nope, not a
nothing
thing.
was sticking.
Fred, did you see any of the bad calls from the game? Do you have any thoughts on the calls?
To be honest, like everyone's talking about how like Tom Brady is the MVP. The MVP should have been the Bucs defense. Their defense
so much.
was
so true.
It was perfect. Like if you tried to do any, like yeah, sure, Mahomes wasn't getting anything off, but they were breaking through. Like they never had a chance. Like Brady, whenever he had the chance and he was in the pocket, he had so much time, 5 seconds more to throw it. Mahomes was just like one look, two look. He's got three guys coming at him, and he's just like, "What do I do?"
And not only that, he had no options.
Yeah.
Like
No.
it got to the point where whenever he had an option, he would try to reuse it over and over again. Like he would have that up the middle pass to Kelsey, and it worked like 3 times, and then after that, they couldn't do it anymore. It was like the Bucks defense figured him out.
I think
Yeah.
one of the things that stood out for me, and it's just like something that I thought of and internalized a bit, is I'm thinking one thing that truly makes Tom Brady great, and it's evident. You can see it at this point, is he gets dudes, no matter what the caliber of player they are, to just buy in. And
Yeah.
I can definitely see him, or he gets a big vocal guy in the locker room to be like, "You're not doing your job. We're calling you out on it. Like, we need to do this flawlessly if we're gonna win," kind of thing. And I get the vibe that he's like that in the locker room, or has some dude on his side. I don't know, Gronk. I don't really see Gronk being a vocal leader, but anyways, he has pull in the locker room either way. So that's one of the things that I can probably see that he has, and it's crazy seeing the fact that he can go from one system to another. Obviously, have a bit of bumps on the way, but achieve the goal in the end. Josh, what did you think about the whole transition from Brady Bucks to or Patriots to Bucks?
It's funny because like going into this season, the whole talk was all about like Belichick and Brady, right? It was like Belichick and Brady, and like Brady couldn't do any better to just kind of shed himself of that reputation. Like he and you gotta kind of also recognize the fact too that like it's not just him. Like he went to a Bucks team that was just stocked full of weapons. Like last year they had Jameis Winston, who set the record for amount of touchdowns. Now, mind you, he also set the record for amount of interceptions thrown, right, for the Bucks. But he was also very offensive. But you put Brady in that same situation with all the tools that he had, plus Antonio Brown,
Right.
and he like dragged Gronk there as well, right? Like he gets to Tampa Bay. He calls up Gronk, says, "Come out of retirement and join me in Tampa." Of course he does, right?
I
So
find.
like,
Go ahead.
I think there's something to be said about like what you said there. Like he has a lot of pull. And it was really easy for him to just kind of like build this team that already had like Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. And then you add Antonio Brown. That's three like top receivers. Plus Leonard Fournette. Like
Yeah. To
Well-
shut an offense down the way that he did is just a little crazy. Mitch, what do you think? I'm gonna pass it to you. The whole Gronk Brady situation is very, very strange. It's like a storybook kind of thing. It's like, me and my friends played football for a very long time. We won some championships. My friend got hurt, but my other friend was like, "I'm moving on. You want to come with me?" And the other guy comes out of retirement being like, "You know what? My bones feel a little bit better. I'm coming along." What do you think about that whole thing?
I don't know, man. I mean, obviously they gel and they work well together. I mean,
Mhm.
well, Brady had success before Gronk, and then they found success together, so that's there. I think obviously Gronk was beat up, and that's a big reason. But I think Gronk honestly just wanted to mentally recharge and take some other ventures, media and stardom wise, for that year. He got his fill. He got his fill. Was he on The Masked Singer? Wasn't he on The Masked Singer?
Didn't he win a belt in WWE?
Yeah, pinned
No,
our
he
Truth, the
never.
24/7 champion, hosted WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I think he did a flying belly press or whatever it is off something onto a bunch of people. So, I mean, he got his fill, he got his stardom, and his guys licks in, and then I guess he saw a good opportunity. And Brady probably gave him a ring, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it again. I'm good. I feel good. I got my fill. I got."
He just wanted to party for a bit.
Yeah, that's all he wanted to do.
I think he DJ'd with Shaq there for a
Yeah,
day.
he did.
The guy lived his best life for like a year away from football, then came back.
He
Here's a
probably
que-
made more money in the last year than he did in the last couple of years of football.
That's the dude that's gonna make money wherever he goes, just because of his
Yeah.
charisma. Right. I got a question for you. All right, I'm gonna pass this one to Tyrell. What duo in sports can you see that happening in? Where's the bromance exist in sports that might have some sort of equivalency to that? If one guy left, he'd be like, come on, you want to come join me? Kind of thing.
Oh man, like today, like right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or whenever point in history where you think it'd be appropriate.
Honestly, like,
There's a few NBA ones in there.
yeah, I'm trying to think of
NBA
NBA one right
for
now.
sure.
you think it just happened?
But that's the thing. That's the thing. Yeah, there you go.
Do you think it just happened with Harden? Like,
Yeah, definitely. Like Harden and KD. I don't know, like if they'd be able to pull each other out of retirement per se, but
Right. Yeah,
They-
and that's the thing too. Like, you got to consider the whole retirement aspect of it, which is like
Mhm.
again, it's very narrative. It's a part of the story. That's part of what makes it wild.
in terms of the NBA, like I don't think there is like unless LeBron had like a Robin his Batman, which I don't like. Not
No, he
really.
does- he
There's
doesn't.
no one he really connected with, right? Like Tom Brady. What this is his 7th Super Bowl win.
yeah.
So the only one
Mhm.
comparable right now is LeBron in my eyes for like amount of championships, and
Right.
There's no one. You know, he's not going to call up Kyrie and be like, "Hey, come
No.
on, the champion."
Oh my
No,
God, Kyrie.
That you know, and him and AD haven't been together that long, so like the relationship that they have, I can't see another comparison to it. Like
Mhm.
they're such like larger than life individuals, you know.
It's
I think
true.
football is the is probably like the one where you'd probably see that.
Yeah.
It's a little
Yeah.
different, right? Like you'll
I
see
mean-
players come out of retirement.
Yeah,
It's
but you
such-
can retire in football at like 28.
Yeah.
Like,
If you're a running
No.
back, here's
You don't have a long career in football usually.
No, it's only a
Here's-
few years.
here's something I'll pass to Fred just for a sec. I was mentioning as I was watching the game, just how different those two guys are. Like, you see Tom Brady, anything shared on social with Tom Brady, it's like family man, role model,
Kisses kids
yeah,
on lips.
kisses kids on the lips, that kind of thing. Then you go to Gronk, and it's like party nonstop, party. There's just nothing else there. That's what he is. What are your thoughts on that relationship? And do you think that they're bros outside the game? That's one of the things I was talking about with the guys during the game. Do you think they're bros?
I think they are.
Yeah.
I really do. Like, I don't know. They just have this. I don't know. Like, there's just connection.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe Gronk brings out Brady's like while he's a family man, it brings his like
Party.
his little party
Brings
self out. It's like I need to keep this guy always there to make me feel young, and he still looks like he's 30. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about Brady, yeah, he definitely he's aged pretty well, gotta say.
man, a handsome man.
Handsome man.
Handsome man. Consensus handsome man? Consensus
Very-
handsome man.
And-
Absolutely.
Everyone's like,
Yep. So let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the National Basketball Association.
wow.
They have made the decision, which is it seems quite, I don't know if you call it unexpected, but it's definitely a speaking subject. They've made the decision to go ahead with the All-Star game. They've made it one day when it's usually 3 days. I'm not sure if they've released quite the content of it yet. I don't know if there's going to be 3-point contest, dunk contest, All-Star game. All that we know for sure is that there's going to be an All-Star game, and I think maybe a dunk contest, but I'm not sure about the particulars there. Want to know your guys' thoughts on that decision? I'll start with Tyrell.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a skills contest too, like
Oh,
right before
right.
the All-Star game. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, like we're playing in a day. It's like a weird time for every league, but like they're not allowing players, shake hands, trade jerseys, or anything like that after. And so many games have been delayed so far with COVID restrictions that I'm like, this game seems kind of needless, I guess.
Yeah.
The risk mixing all the teams together, kind of thing.
That's the thing too. They're all meeting in one spot, and
It's a terrible idea.
It's
Okay.
stupid.
And it's
uh,
not just any players; it's the superstar players. Like you can
Yeah.
destroy the team for
Good
the
point.
entire
Great
season. So why would you
Yeah.
do that? Why would you take LeBron out for X amount of games and then like it's silly. No wonder LeBron is
Rudy Gobert shows up and coughs on all the mics. And then every NBA
It
star
comes
is,
full circle.
yeah.
Rudy started it, and he ends it.
Yeah,
He
that'd be
is-
amazing.
Rudy. Isn't that kind of weird though? I'm thinking back now. Like he started the whole, like that moment, and when he tested positive and the NBA shut down, that was the moment the world realized, all right, let's shut down
This is
a
real.
lot of things.
It's true.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I remember. I know a lot of people actually reference the NBA as like the turning point, being like, all right, if this big money making company just shuts shit down, like we got to take this seriously too. Yeah.
NHL shut down right after that.
Yeah.
Like as soon as the NBA did, the NHL did.
And let me just bring it back, just saying, this is why the decision to make the All-Star game kind of just caught me off guard a little bit, but not quite. It's just because the NBA is usually progressive in a lot of different things, and the fact that they executed their league within a bubble, which is praised across the world for how successful it was. Like it's crazy the amount of work that went into that, and making it happen is unreal. And then they make this decision, which is just like, it's obviously nothing else but a money grab.
That's all it is. It's economically
course.
driven, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's the same with even the NHL now. Like both I think like the bubble was a great idea in a vacuum, like the small sample size, because it was so effective.
Right.
But it costs so much money to do.
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
And it worked for both, but now like they're like kind of both leagues are kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out on the rules. Like I'm gonna kind of segue here, Alex.
No, go
There was
ahead.
another thing that I kind of mentioned on there. It was the whole situation with Kevin Durant.
Yep.
During the Nets and Raptors game,
Yes.
where it was like, you know, there was COVID protocol. He was pulled out of the game, then he was put back in, and then he was like pulled out again. I'm like, well, what's the point of that? If he has COVID, they all have COVID now.
Yeah. Like,
You know what I mean? Like you're like
Get
half in,
involved.
half out. Like they're like, we're not sure if.
and I could
Yeah,
actually,
they play
I'll link that to an NHL topic coming up soon. But
Mhm.
that game was absolutely wild in exactly what you said. It's just the jumping around and the lack of clarity with what's right and what's wrong. That was against the Raptors and Nets is what you said, right?
Yeah.
And the Raptors went on to win the game.
They won the game after. Yeah.
And was it they pulled him out of the fourth or let him in the fourth? What was it?
I thought they'd let him back in, because he was pulled out and then brought back into the game or something. Or I
Yeah.
think beforehand he wasn't supposed to play or something, and then they let him play and then they pulled him out.
Yeah.
Like it was just weird.
See, and
Ridiculous.
that's the thing. They also issued a rule this year that you're not allowed to hug, which you mentioned before. And there's clips, I can't remember which two players there were. It's literally a rule. It's like the no hug squad. They have guys employed. So there was two players, I can't remember who they were, that did the jersey swap. They're like, a great game, bro. Love your stuff. Here's my jersey. Here's yours. And the no hug squad came up and like, hey, can't be at it. Give it up.
Dab it.
So it
Not today.
just comes across so weird. It's such a weird thing. And like do you think Mitch that they will take all of the events? Do you think the dunk competition stays? If one stays, what do you think it is?
Oh, dunk competition,
Dunk.
hands down.
Yeah. That's right.
That's the big main one.
And you could socially distance that one.
You can.
Yeah. So do dunk and probably what's the three-point competition?
3-point contest, yeah.
And everyone would have to have their own basketball because everyone's touching the same basketball.
True.
Right? Unless
True.
everyone's like running, doing their hands. Go do your hands.
Sanitize your
How are you
hands
gonna-
before you go to the next rack.
Yeah.
One gets
Yeah.
loose and
Like-
starts going towards the crowd, and everyone just starts running away from it.
Makes you wonder how they're gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've heard some people say like just throwing shit out there, like pre-recording it and stuff like that. And with that kind of conversation, people were thinking like, are they gonna get rid of the missed and botched dunks? But also people were saying like, that's half the fun. Like the suspense building is like, what's he gonna do? He's jumping really high, but he's missing this. What's he gonna do? Kind of thing. It's weird. Tyrell, which one of those auxiliary competitions do you think should be included, or do you think will be included?
I think the skills challenge for sure, even though it's the worst. But I honestly like the 3-point competition more. The dunk comp, it's
Yeah,
gotten kind of stale in the last few years.
Boring.
It's true. It's like
Yeah.
it's guys. They're not professional dunkers. They're athletic guys in the league that do that in the gym as a side project, right? Because there's other shows on big networks, like I think it's called like Dunk King or something like that.
Yeah,
Guys that
yeah.
really know, like that's what they do. They're professional dunkers. So of course that's why you get these botched dunks. That's why you get nerves. And I've heard other people say before, like that could play into some guys' favor, but also the opposite as well. There's this big crowd watching you. It's like, how well do you perform with no crowd versus a big crowd? So there's that with those two competitions for sure. Fred, do you have any closing thoughts on the All-Star game and the NBA's decision to go ahead with it?
What I want to know the most though is like, are they plan on doing fans like there, and like how many? You know, like, or is it just going to be
like,
just at home? Like,
it's Atlanta,
like the Super Bowl yesterday,
and I think
Yeah.
Atlanta is allowing fans into their games, so I'm assuming probably limited capacity.
I don't really
Why would you think-
understand.
Yeah.
I don't really understand like why like 5 teams can allow some of their fans in and the other 25 are.
that's the way the states are.
You'd
'Cause it's,
think
like,
it
up
would
to
be
the
a
state.
league-wide or an association-wide
Mhm.
regulation. It's not.
Mhm.
So state, I think state by state,
Mhm.
whatever how your state regulates it. It's
It was kind of like that. It was kind of like that here for like hockey as well, right? Like
Yeah.
right before the season started, it was down to the wire. Like Ontario was the only one that didn't allow it to happen yet.
Right.
Last minute, they're like, okay, yeah, the Sens and Leafs can play at home.
Yeah, for sure.
Just going back to I was just thinking about the All-Star thing with the 3-point competition.
Yep.
I don't even know if that's doable. Because think about the amount of basketballs they use for that competition. And then they have to sanitize all of it in between each one. I mean, I don't
Unless
know.
they
if
have
that's
that
even,
many
like-
basketballs.
Need an order of like 500 basketballs.
Yeah, I just-
There's like a
I don't
tennis
even know
ball
that's
boy,
feasibly
like
possible.
like a tennis ball
Yeah,
boy
that's
running
fair
around
enough.
with a spray bottle.
Yeah, the same guy that's rebounding them is just like washing them as he's going. I can. The sad part is I can see that happening. I can see whoever's rebounding him just.
They're gonna have this kind of like mist machine of sanitizer up around the net that the ball has to travel through each time, or the netting is just constantly covered in sanitizer so when it goes through.
There you go.
You're just gonna see guys go to shoot and it's just gonna slip out of their hand.
Just go backwards.
no, but yeah.
I was like, damn.
So here's a little wacky one. The game was supposed to be, or one of the kind of stupid events. No, definitely stupid events of the All-Star game every single year is the celebrity game. It's often like D-list celebrities. No one knows who the fuck's playing the game.
Pauly Shore.
Let's go around here now. Josh,
Okay.
if you were to throw a celebrity in the NBA celebrity game,
I think I just did.
who do you want? Who did you
Oh
say
my
again?
God.
Sorry.
I just yelled Pauly Shore.
There you go. Let's
Oh my god.
Mitch, who would you throw in the celebrity game?
I'd like to see The Rock body some people.
Set some really heavy screens.
Yeah. I'd like to see someone try and like go up on him and just stare him down. They're like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna give you the ball.
He just takes the charge, but the person bounces off of
he
him.
takes the charge, but just sends the other guy flying back half court.
Fred, who do you want to see in the All-Star celebrity game? The fantasy celebrity game.
Tom Segura.
Tom
You know who I'm
Segura.
talking about? Look it up, boys. Oh man. So I'll give you what happened. Okay. So it's like, it was him and like he's a stand-up comedian.
Yep.
So and he does podcasts and shit too. But anyway, him and Bert. What's his name?
Chrysler or whatever. Yeah.
So they were playing basketball, right? And anyways, he goes to try to dunk. And when he jumped, he ripped his tendon in his knee, completely ripped it. And then because he couldn't jump, and he's a pretty big man, he fell and then broke his arm. So he literally In one motion, he destroyed himself. Look up the video. It's unbelievable.
Wait, is
It's
it
hard to watch.
So wait.
Yeah. Well, it's live. Like the guys were like videotaping this guy. Like,
So I want to know your motivation for putting this man in an All-Star game. Do you want him to be
Because-
tortured further? Or is he injured now? And do you want a comeback story? Like, what side is?
Yes, I want him to actually come back and dunk it and be like, "Oh,
Yeah, we want him to make the
sick.
shot.
He did it.
We want
He
him to
did
make
it."
the shot.
Yeah, man. That's what I want. I want him to like be afraid, be like, "I'm gonna fucking do this."
Overcome adversity.
Overcome adversity. Exactly.
He like destroyed like the entire left side of his body. Like I'm watching it here now. He's got
my
like this
God.
glove and arm thing on, and his huge knee brace on.
Oh my God. I heard from Joe Rogan. Oh my God. I was crying. I was in tears. It was like, I can't believe that could happen to a man in a span of like 1 second.
Tyrell, do you have a celebrity for the fantasy celebrity game?
I'd throw Justin Bieber back in there.
Yes.
I just want to see him attempt to cross up the rock.
There you go. Hey, he's not
See
lacking
what
confidence, and that's
No,
a big factor in stuff like that. And you know what? It never hurts to sprinkle some more Canadian talent.
Oh yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, let's cover one more Super Bowl thing. Speaking of Canadian talent, let's drop one more Canadian talent in there. The Weeknd had his performance during the weekend, and
Consensus.
let's get some consensus. One thing I didn't realize until we were talking about it during the show was he was the first Canadian headliner of the Super Bowl, and I was honestly
Second.
surprised. Headliner?
Second. Yeah. Shania Twain was the first.
She didn't headline though. She was more of a guest.
I thought
Oh,
she
yeah?
performed.
She performed, but I don't think she was like the main.
It was one of those like
my
handoff
apologies.
ones, I guess.
Okay,
Which
my
is
apologies.
another
maybe it
question.
was-
No,
I
it's all
don't
good.
know.
But he was the definitely one of the bigger Canadian performers that has done the project. And another little thing to sprinkle in there, he dropped $7 million of his
Of his own
own
money.
cash
Yeah.
to help the production of the show. Josh, I just
Also-
want to know,
Okay.
would you ever take $7 million of your own money or of your own wallet to
Not in,
make
in
you
this-
perform better at your job?
not, I was gonna say not in this financial situation.
What did you think of his performance?
Oh man, I actually thought it was pretty cool, and also thought that I didn't realize how many songs by The Weeknd that I knew until
Yes.
like he performed. I was like, wait, that's by him too? Wait, that's by him as well? It's one of those, but I thought like you can see the extra money put into it. Like it was pretty cool. Like I think the performance itself visually, away from the music, and the music was good itself, I think the performance like visually was pretty cool. It was like a whole different concept. Plus you have endless memes that come from that like confused hallway run
Yeah.
that are like all over Twitter and stuff now.
Tyrell, did you catch any of the show? Are you familiar with the Weeknd's jams?
I listened to the weekend, but I didn't see the halftime show yet, but I've seen the memes and they're pretty wacky.
Especially that like little maze one, the mirror room one is the one that went around the most.
He looks so confused.
He does. He sells it. He sells it.
Yeah.
Fred, what are your thoughts on it?
I thought he did a fantastic job, to be honest. Like, yeah, sure. Like some critics are all shitting on him for it, but you know what? Like he made the best out of what he had. And going back to your point about the whole, he put $7 million into it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, because he took the job, say, to do the Super Bowl, he literally took himself out of the Grammys, the biggest award ceremony for musicians. So he was up for numerous awards, and he said, "Fuck the awards. I'm gonna go do Super Bowl." Like that's pretty ballsy.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
cool.
when you think about
how does that eliminate him from the Grammys? I'm just not familiar with it.
Apparently, it's a thing. If you perform, I could be wrong. You guys can check it out. But I think this is what I've heard is if you ever perform for the Super Bowl, you are taken out of.
Maybe,
the ceremony
or
for
maybe it was what he
Grammys.
was like performing at the Grammys or whatnot. He can only do one of them, or
Right. I guess I can
Yeah,
understand that because it could be like a recency bias people see, especially if it's a really good show or a really bad
Mhm.
show for someone that made a good record. It could
Mhm.
hinder them or help them, regardless. Mitch, did you
Mhm.
watch it?
But
What do
he's
you-
the big.
Oh, go ahead, Fred.
I was just gonna say, but like right now, he is like one of the biggest artists. So like,
oh yeah,
Yeah, let
for him to
alone
just
like
back out
where
like
he's
that,
from.
That's ballsy, I think.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
Definitely a sense of pride there. Mitch, are you proud of the Canadian boy and the weekend?
Weekend.
Yep. Proud mama over here.
I remember talking to you during as it was
Beautiful baby
happening,
boy.
and you were somewhat impressed, right? You were like,
I like the setup. The setup was pretty sweet. I mean, and the amount of people, like on the field when he had like that outrageous number of people
yeah,
on the go, like, that was intense. But
And note that they were all socially distanced.
They were.
except for the part where they
I know
started
that they had-
scrambling around.
I know that they had
They were
masks
all
on.
wearing masks. They were all wearing masks.
Yeah.
And, but the thing that was creative about it was like they were wearing masks, but it was like that surgery thing that he was teasing for months, kind of thing. It was nice. It was tastefully done. Here's another just quick question for you guys. Where the hell did that $7 million go? Obviously, you get a big budget for your performance, and some director says this is where this goes, blah blah blah. Where did the extra $7 million go? Where he say like I need more?
I know.
You know?
exactly where it went.
Oh,
I say it went to that set and the extras that the choreography for the dancers and stuff. That's probably where it went through.
okay.
It went to the mirror room. The mirror hallway.
$7 million mirror room.
Yes.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot.
He probably paid some of it to James Corden. Did you guys see that? Like he had him on as I don't know, they did a little skit together.
The car, what is it? The sing along in the car. That's all I know James Corden for. I think it's the same
like,
guy.
He
isn't it?
literally was like, "This is the dance we're gonna do," and he's
Right.
like going through the weekends, like, "Man, I don't want to do this." He's like, "Now throw like do the
Right.
fishing rod," and they're like doing it. He's like, "I'm not doing any of this." Paying celebrities, man, to get yourself bigger, something like that.
There you go.
Who knows?
I would say I was impressed with it. I definitely had this weird sense of pride. I got to be honest, and I always do with Canadian musicians. There's Canadian musicians always at the top of the chart, like in North America, and I have a strange sense of pride in that. So it was really well done. Some of the shots, like I know I was talking to the guys, like as it was happening, like the shots where it was him emerging from the tunnel and then fireworks behind him, like whoo, like. That's crazy. I love
the camera
that.
work was good too.
Yeah, like it was all done with that in mind. It was like all done with like the camera visual in mind, as opposed to like the performance for the people at the show, because there wasn't as many people at the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it had a different vibe to it. It was a bit more cinematic.
Yeah. Let's move it over to the NHL for a quick topic that Josh really wanted to have covered with Carolina Carolina Hurricanes and the Blue Jackets. I had a little time to look over the clip, and people weren't happy about it. Tell us about it, Josh.
Did you see this? Like it was the most wackiest thing. Like Fred, did you see this?
It's so frustrating.
Yeah,
It's
Mitch-
very frustrating.
I missed it. Like I saw something being talked about today, but I have no idea what this is about.
So I'll summarize it just to give you the gist of what happened. But in the game, there was a moment where there was I guess like a close offside entry before the goal, and on that play, Carolina ended up scoring a goal. Right?
Last minute
and
of the game, it's 3-3. So
yeah,
they
it was
won the
really
game
close. It
because
was
of
really close. No, this was earlier in the game. I think it was like at the end of the second period or around that time. But like, so then Columbus challenged it, right, for offside. And then what happened apparently was that the War Room or whatever, they had like a rookie like videographer, or the guy who's kind of like, he was a trainee, or at least that's what the NHL says. It was a trainee that was doing like the video work that day. So over the phone, the linesman and referee, all they could hear was, "Oh yeah, it's onside," right? But he only saw one camera angle, so they just called it onside, and ended up giving Columbus a penalty.
That's what it was. It was clearly offside.
It was clearly offside. So then that happened right before the intermission, because the penalty was probably the last minute of the second period. And then so it carried over. So over the intermission, there was this whole shitstorm. Like the NHL trying to figure out like what are we going to do about this, right? Because it's not supposed to be a goal. It was clearly offside. Like we botched the call, and then to begin the third period, like the refs just come over and pretty much tell them it's like, okay, listen, the goal's going to count, but you don't get a penalty anymore. So like they erased the rest of the penalty.
Wow.
So like Torrance is just like, are you kidding me? Like,
Wait, was this against Columbus or?
it was against Columbus.
Oh,
So,
Columbus
like-
was supposed to have the penalty.
Yeah, I'm very
And
surprised.
that scored on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very surprised that Torrance didn't have a blow up about this.
Surprised he didn't murder someone.
Yeah. But it's just such a weird thing because like the NHL pretty much half admitted to it being a screwed up call.
Yeah.
But even in that moment, like they didn't overturn the goal or anything. So now, because of that, Carolina won the game. Like the score stayed the same. Carolina won the game. They're in the same division. Now imagine if that is a battle for fourth place.
Exactly.
Like in that division, who you
Ooh.
got right now? You have like Florida and Tampa on fire in 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then like who else? I'm trying to remember. I can't even locate the division. But you also have Carolina and Columbus battling. Imagine if they're separated by 1 point.
For the division now, you got Tampa at the top, Carolina,
Yeah.
Florida, then Chicago, then Columbus, and then others.
Okay.
Chicago are behind Tampa and
Surprisingly, somehow.
how?
So who knows?
Oh, is Dallas in that division?
Yeah.
Okay,
Six.
so even Dallas, like you'd expect Dallas to be top 3. They just came from the Stanley Cup final.
But man,
Yeah, they
they
missed
went
the
through
beginning of the
COVID.
season.
COVID.
Yeah, that's the
so-
reason why they're down the line right now. But like, imagine if that's the reason why Columbus doesn't make the playoffs. 1 point. Like,
That's the thing. That's
it-
what's going to
system's
piss
a bit
people.
flawed.
Yeah, it's what's going to piss
Yeah.
people off down the road. And like, I think the main thing that pisses people off is that they half fixed it. So it's like,
that's
here,
what it is.
we take it off the board. We take the penalty off the board,
Yeah.
and leave the point. Like
Yeah,
it's just
Cole-
mixed
Colin-
signals. It's very weird.
Colin Campbell straight up said too, he's like, the reason why we didn't take the goal back is because there's a lack of precedent. Like, are you kidding? Here's your precedent right now. Like, it wasn't supposed to be a goal. It was an officiating screw up, and you're not going to fix it.
Yeah.
So,
They had a chance to set it right there and then.
they should have done it right. They should have done it in the intermission.
Exactly.
Should have
Like,
just be like, yeah, it's no goal.
if you're gonna right one wrong, just write all the
You don't
wrongs.
have to it.
There's a really poetic
We're
quote.
gonna
for you.
count the goal, but we're also gonna take the penalty away from Columbus. Like they were already killed off like a minute 45 of the penalty.
Yeah.
Gee, thanks.
Yeah, it's like, oh, thanks. Like,
Yeah.
we already worked hard, and
And like you said, it's just the fact that they're in the same division, and that could be the deciding factor of it once it's all said and done. And I think that's what makes it the shittiest is when refs
it's
make
crazy.
call like refs are gonna make mistakes and they acknowledge them. The funny thing I found was the video that I watched on YouTube is like they fixed officials fixed mistake, and of course all the comments like, well, fixed part of it.
yeah, they didn't really fix it, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing too. Like it enters that debate. Like if you're gonna start to bring like video review into the sport, where do you like draw the line on it? Like if
Yeah.
you're bringing it in, like you should call back a goal. You know what I mean?
And
You
am
don't
I
just go halfway and
am I right in understanding that blue line cam is new tech that they're using, or new-ish?
they've
Newish,
had it for.
but-
Is it like it's been the last few years?
Last couple of years, but it's only been like better quality in the last year.
Yeah.
Right.
Before it's been like potato cams, so it's like, oh
Yeah.
sweet,
Yeah.
it's there, but you can't see anything.
See, and they even changed the rule of offside to make it more
You miss the
easier
skate.
to tell, right? And like when
They
they
still
showed the
screwed
blue
him up.
line, yeah, when they showed the blue line can, like Trocheck was obviously offside.
Yeah.
Like, he was over the line. You're like, no, that's a bad call.
So we've discussed previously in the podcast about a human viciously injuring their body, to the fact that they might not be able to play what they want to do again, thanks to Fred. And this has happened to a player that we're going to discuss next. There was a little trade in the NBA. Derrick Rose has been. I think it might be official right now that he's headed to the Knicks. He's been there before. I apologize because I can't remember how long he's been there. It seems like he's bounced around a few teams ever since his big injury. Obviously, he was an MVP years ago. Looked insanely athletic, looked really promising. Got people hyped about the Bulls again. He's back in the Knicks. Tyrell, what do you think?
I mean, I'm just glad he's still in the NBA. Like when in his MVP season, he was one of my favorite players, and just seeing that was awful. His comeback attempts for like 3 years after that were just so hit and miss.
Yeah,
That's just it's good to see him play at a high level wherever he is. Honestly,
he makes a nice role player piece now, and it's sad. I guess it's sad that it's come to that point, but he contributes. He's definitely a contributor to a team. I would have expected him to go somewhere where he has more of a chance. I think he would have got. I don't know what his contract is right now, but I thought he would have got moved to more of a contender than the Knicks. I know the Knicks are better than they have been in quite some time, but I would have expected him to go anywhere else. Mitch, were you aware of Derrick Rose in his MVP season? Did you watch any of them? Are you sick and tired of hearing the "he's back" comments?
I don't know. I mean, I remember Derrick Rose like being the thing, the next best thing in his MVP season. Like he was the guy, and then obviously that brutal injury, and then it's just that was it. I mean, kind of sucks actually, because I mean, you see someone's career so impacted by an injury. I don't know. I mean, maybe the injury is masking something that was just more of a flash in the pan, and we're chalking it up to something more than what it actually is, you know. But I mean, it's all at the same time. I mean, obviously the guy got skill and talent, so to see him kind of, I feel like he's definitely in a better place, or one of the better positions in his career regards to talent wise since the injury.
Yeah.
So I mean, hopefully he can go to the Knicks and kind of make that his team, and you know, actually give the Knicks fans something to cheer about for the first time in forever. So.
I'll say this, Josh. What do you think? Do you think with them moving D Rose, what is his spot in the NBA now? Do you think he's just like? Do you see him as role player? Do you see him as a star that will eventually get back to form? Do you think him as a story that people probably blow up out of proportion a little bit? What do you think?
I say like that's the thing. I'm not so sure because he's just like fallen off completely for a long time, right? Like it's rough. Like it just kind of reminds me now. It's probably totally different situations, but the first thing that comes to mind just in my mind is like Jeremy Lin.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's like the same thing.
Like you said, flashes, little flashes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but it was just like one time, and then all of a sudden it just wasn't the same.
Crazy thing is, he's won an MVP. Like that's not easy.
How old is he right now?
Derrick Rose. Let's take a quick goog.
Late 30s?
I think it's early 30s, but
early 30s.
32 years old.
I was gonna ask the same thing. Like I was curious.
32 years old.
honestly, I think if we were expecting any sort of like comeback to his MVP form, yeah, it would have happened years ago. But he had like repeated knee injury and like repeat. I think he had like an ankle injury again too. Like, no, it's this is the Derrick Rose we got. He's gonna use his mind more so than his athleticism, I think.
Tyrell, do you remember how long he was out for when he got that injury?
He was out like a season and a half, I think, before he even attempted to come back. He played for like 7 games, and got re-injured something, and then went off again for another season. It was like 2.5 years he was gone for. So
just to put like a little bit of context around what's happening, he was playing with the Pistons. Decent role, like he was. The Pistons are shit. The Pistons are the worst, the worst team in the NBA. I think.
I didn't even realize he was on the Pistons. I thought he was still with the Bulls. I'm not even gonna lie.
So he's there, putting up acceptable individual stats. Him and Blake Griffin, but the team sucks. It's garbage. It's just a weird random trade that happened because the transaction was him and Dennis Smith Jr. and a 2nd-round pick from Charlotte. So there's the transaction, and it's just a sad story overall. But I guess you don't really have to look at it that way because, as Tyrell said, this is the Derrick Rose we're getting. Like, he got his MVP.
Yeah.
Not really.
You said Charlotte. You said Charlotte, and the person that came to mind was one of the notes that you posted. I think it was you, Alex, that posted there. Was it the one of Ball and the ref?
Ball? Yeah.
The ref just not having any of his shit.
So LaMelo Ball, of ball fame, he's a rookie for the Charlotte Hornets, second round pick. Very good, very confident, and the most confident player I've seen in years, or rookie I've seen in years, without a doubt. He in this clip, well, I can't remember what team he was facing.
I can't remember. It didn't show when I saw it.
But laughing in the ref's face about whatever call it was, just having a good time. And the ref, sure enough, turns around and just straight faced, not having anything.
The expression on the ref's face is so priceless.
Because usually with like, especially
He's so
vets,
mad.
obviously vets and other players, just like talk back and forth. And if one person's smiling, they've got to that point where it's like they could both laugh it off. But LaMelo, rook in the league, very, incredibly confident, maybe borderline arrogant, and then just shows the ref turn around, just not having any of it.
I believe what you would call the expression on his face is shit-eating grin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Ref was ready to backhand it straight off.
Oh, yeah, just-
I guess we'll just get to a couple other tiny little bits before we wrap it up here on the first episode of the Jersey Tuck podcast. Did you guys see the clip that I posted of Bradley Beal and Jimmy Butler fighting for the loose ball?
I loved it.
I watched it.
I loved it.
I died at it.
So Bradley Beal is currently leading scoring on one of the other NBA super shit teams, the Washington Wizards. He's going to get moved. People want to see him moved. His all-star votes are through the roof just because people want to see him out of there. But what it was just they were fighting for a loose ball, him and Jimmy Butler, and they were both grabbing onto the ball, and they ended up walking each other down the court because they both had it in their hands. And there was this excellent camera angle where it showed both of them like eyes wide open, like super grinning at each other, saying like, "Give me that ball, give me the ball." And it was just, of course,
it's the one of Beal's face. It kills me.
Yeah. Of course, it sparked some little trade rumors, but who knows what legitimacy that has, of him going to Miami or whatever. I think they do have the space for them. It could be done, but did you guys see that? Anyone see that?
No, I didn't see the rumor for it.
Yeah. You all saw the clip though, right? I think.
Yeah.
Most of you saw the
Yeah.
clip. Great
They
clip.
should offer the package I wish that we got for Harden, honestly. I want Duncan Robinson, Tyler Harrow.
Yeah.
That would be a great package, I think. I know like everyone says they're overrated, but they got a lot of upside.
They do. They really do. Those two young guys really do have a lot of upside. They made it to the NBA Finals. Can't really. That's a big feat for those two guys. That'll go under the radar for years. The fact that they made the finals, just because they didn't really do much there, and the fact that it was such an off year. Let me just check to see if we got anything else to cover here now. One last thing I wanted to bring up was what was this? Westbrook versus the Nets. Was it he stole the Nets game?
The last 7 seconds.
I think
It's him and Beal. It's him and Beal. Like they both hit like big shots at the end of the game.
Yeah, and it was against the it was against the Nets.
Yeah, it was against the Nets.
So essentially they were down like 5 or 6. Looks like a complete write-off. And Beal comes down the court, guns it down the court, gets a little separation from the top of the key, a little bit beyond the top of the key too. Is a deep shot, bangs that down, and then on the inbounds pass, it gets stolen. It gets shot out to Westbrook.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned this before. Like the fact that you have faith in Westbrook on the 3-point line is, I don't know. It's trust in your teammates, which is a good thing to have. But go ahead, John.
Yeah. He dropped like that. The shot dropped, and like the passion on Westbrook's face was amazing. Like he was ready to just fight the entire team, like the opposing team. Like he was so like, no! Like he was just like amped about it.
Fred,
it was just perfect timing for the full court press. Like as soon as they shot that and the full court press came in, you can just see it by the camera angle. I don't remember his name. He's like the point guard or whatever. He just slipped in. It was just perfect. And when they put it in over to Westbrook, it was perfect.
I just found the fact that they got that inbound steal was the wildest part. Because like, how can you be that careless with a team with as much talent as the Brooklyn Nets? That team is stacked. It's crazy
Oh
stacked.
man, they're so stacked.
Offensively. And the fact that you just give it away is unreal to me. And sure, Westbrook is the guy shooting the ball, but like, that guy has an MVP as well. So
He's clutch in situations too. I know, there's a reason they're 5-15, and maybe it could be the bricks, but
Russell Westbrook.
he does come up clutch sometimes.
It's true. Mitch, do you like seeing Russell Westbrook fired up? I gotta say, that's one of my favorite things to look at in sports when he does something important to see. Like, it's
his MVP season was great. Like,
Westbrook was always been one of my favorite players, and a big reason was just because how fired up he'd get in his intensity.
Perhaps it's a cliche, but he plays every minute. Like he goes 100% every single minute, and that's what you want from any player, and that's why people are such a big fan, and why I'll remain a big fan for as long as he's in the league. So I'll never be one to chirp on him too hard, because I mean, obviously with numbers you have a tendency to chirp anyways. But go ahead, Mitch.
I was gonna say, I just think at this point, like, out of all the guys to not do is Westbrook is kind of follow the rest of the superstars and just make a super team. It seems like Westbrook's been the one guy not to do it, which, I mean, at this point, if anyone deserves to do it, it should be him.
He was really loyal, right? Like, I think he probably would have stayed in OKC because he got traded out of there, right? Did he get traded to the Rockets from there? Yes.
Yeah, for Chris Paul.
Yeah, but that's when it was all hit the fan at that point, and KD was gone, and Harden was already gone. He was the only one there. It's like they didn't have anything to build around him. It was just like, all right,
after his MVP season.
Yeah, let's get something for Westbrook and try and rebuild the team.
I think he's just one of those guys that have the old school mentality as like, I'm here. I want to have a situation. I want to nurture a situation where we can make the playoffs, and like, this is my team. I'm taking full responsibility of my team. He
wants to be the guy.
Yeah. And which is admirable, but like, not necessary for you to be great, obviously, but very admirable. It's crazy.
I just think at this point, and maybe it's not everything to him, but usually it is for most guys, getting at least one championship out of it. I mean, no one's going to call foul him on this point if he goes follows someone like LeBron, Kawhi, whatever at this point. I mean, just do it for yourself and your career at this point. I mean, don't go suffering out in Washington, and for the sake of just having, like, being the leader of a team and be a leader of a team, but if it's a shit show, how fun is it really?
Yeah. I'm going to close off. It's been great. It's been a great show. I'm going to close it off with a little thing. I'm going to have each of you guys take your favorite team of your favorite sport, give kind of like the state that they're in. Are you confident? Where are they going? Just tell me about the situation in, like, I guess a minute, and we'll start with Fred. Tell us about those Habs.
Pleasantly surprised. Very happy. I'm not going to be that person saying I'm going to jump on the bandwagon and be like, hey, they're going to win the Stanley Cup. They're probably not. But they have everything going for them right now. They have veterans. They got young guys. They have fighters. They're big. They're fast. It's promising. It's promising, and I fucking needed it.
Yeah, and they're firing on all cylinders right now.
That's good. Yeah. Good to hear. There's some nice positivity there. Tyrell, let's go to you next.
Yeah.
Rockets, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'll go with the Rockets. Honestly, since the Harden trade, it's been great not seeing one person just dribble for 48 minutes. No, the team ball, like, when they're at full strength, they got John Wall, they got Oladipo, and Christian Wood just got injured, so that sucks. But when they were all playing together, man, they were wicked on defense. They were moving the ball. It was more of like, 4 guys can score 20 points a night kind of thing.
Yep.
So honestly, I'm happy we own Brooklyn Nets future until 2028. So I'm hoping they do as poor as possible in the coming years.
Hoping it all blows up.
Yeah. Hoping Harden goes to too many strip clubs again,
and Kyrie just bails. Yeah.
I could see that. I could see that being an ego imploding.
Yeah. People said that when they first went there, and like, so Yeah, so Harden goes to too many strip clubs. Kyrie bails, ghosts the team.
Oh yeah.
And
Just-
KD
Kyrie
uses
goes up to the Himalayan mountains to find his
Yeah.
spiritual soul or some shit.
and KD uses his burner Twitter way too much. And there's that, and that's how the team implodes. Josh, tell us about those Leafs. What do you think about the Leafs right now?
They're doing great. They're doing great, and they're up 1-0 right now after the first period, so that's good. They're off to a 9-2-1 start, which is one of the best starts that I've seen in a while. So it's going to be kind of fun to see pretty much them and the Habs in the same division, just the top two teams.
Yeah,
gunning it out for first place, which is pretty cool.
definitely exciting to see. Go ahead.
And like it's a cool year where it's like they already had all the star power in place, but they just now supplanted it with like or supplemented it with like the right supporting cast. So like now with certain players, they can like Fred was saying, like they can kind of do a little bit of everything now. Like there's like elements of everything. There's like veteran leadership, there's scoring, there's skill, they're fast, they're bigger. Like
it's not
Someone
all
to
just
stand
big
up
names
for
on
them.
paper.
exactly Wayne Simmons punching people in the face. It's great.
Yeah.
Mitch, tell us about those Avs. What do you think about your Avs this season?
I mean, overall, they're a solid team. I mean, they've been picked as the Stanley Cup favorite overall, but it's been a roller coaster so far because they started off a bit inconsistent. They weren't getting any depth scoring, but then that picked up, and then they were scoring, and then they got a crap load of injuries. McKinnon, their superstar, got hurt, and then their backup goalie, Francouz, was hurt, and then their two penalty killers in Bellemare and Calver were hurt, and then one of the top pairing new defensemen was hurt, all week-to-week injuries. And then they played Minnesota, and now they're in COVID protocol because of Minnesota. So it's a mess. It's a roller coaster right now. They're still doing okay record-wise, but, I mean, they have not been able to play a consistent string of hockey to even, like, kind of get their feet planted yet. It's just this season's been a mess so far.
Right. But definitely no reason to get down on the team or get depressed about the team. So that's good.
No. I mean, they'll be in the playoffs.
Just gotta make the playoffs and they'll.
That's good, guys. We got
deep.
we got a lot of positivity here on the Jersey Talk podcast. I'll chime in for just a second and say my Rockets have looked really great. As Tyrell said, like we got some nice young talent here. He mentioned guys that can put up 3 guys that can put up 20 on any given night. I believe when they had the full healthy lineup, 3 of them did put up 20, which was really impressive and really promising. There's been rumors of Oladipo getting moved, so we'll see where that goes in the coming days. But yeah, overall, really way more positive than I thought it'd be. Massive John Wall fan, massive Christian Wood fan. I'm getting one of those jerseys sometime soon, without a doubt.
They're playing with the Raptors mentality. Raptors game, good defense and spread out scoring.
Yeah,
I still remember how sad you were when it first went down.
Oh, I was a mess.
Yeah, you were so down, man.
I was very emotionally connected to James Harden.
There's a lot to process.
Yeah, it was. It's just the fact that it happened. Like it just, I don't know. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I guess we'll call it there for now, guys.
Wait, I want to ask you, what jersey you getting? You getting the H-Town jersey?
The blue one, the baby blue one.
Yeah.
I've been so tempted, man, because like
like I told you, I don't like the H-Town, but the colors are pretty sweet.
I'm honestly, because like that's very defining. It's like Harden's gone. Here's a baby blue Rockets jersey. Maybe I might cave and get that. Who knows? Because I actually like it. It's grown on me. We'll see. I'm sure it'll be revealed in the coming podcasts. But I guess we'll call it there, guys. I think it went really well. Really appreciate it. Make sure, probably not exactly at the time that this is posted on at least one of those platforms, but we will be available on Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, and follow us on Twitter. Always follow us on Twitter to see when we go live. We will be doing a live show very soon, probably consistently. But other than that, really appreciate everyone tuning in, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Back, bro.
Deuces.
Sweet.